that is, that's what they said initially, that the LA-9 incident, as well as the George I incident in Antarctica, were peacetime mishaps, and they did not fall under the umbrella of the law that was passed by Congress for recovery of U.S. military personnel killed overseas during, where was it? During wartime.
Yeah, during wartime, it's the law that was passed.
So that the LA-9 incident and the George I incident fell kind of in a bureaucratic crack, where there were no funds provided for this type of recovery, and that it took a lot of effort, a lot of mailing campaign nationwide, and members of the family and friends of the deceased crew became involved in a lot of petitions to Congress. I think we're past that now. I think they're going to find the funds, and I believe it's going to happen. Just a matter of time.
Okay. Is there anything else that you think you'd like to add?
I'm so tempted to, but no, I'm not going to get bitter. I'm not going to blast the government. I'll let it ride.
Okay.
We just want I just won't see them recovered. I don't know. It's been, as far as I'm concerned, it's a national disgrace, but to have left them there like that.
vp-5.
Name's Lanny R. Fowler. I was in vp-5 from early 1961 till the middle of '64. I was an ADR-3 when I checked in, and I made second class in Iceland.
And then, now, did you fly with the lost crew?
No.
Were you friends with them? Or just tell us a little bit about your relationship with during the time of the lost crew.
We flew LA-9 just about on a daily basis. We flew all the time. And Crew 7 came up from Rota, Spain, and we were supposed to fly that flight that day. And I woke up, and I thought I'd missed it because I overslept. And I called down there, and they said, Crew 7 took your flight this morning. And of course, they went out and never did come back.
And I understand that you went on several hours in search and rescue, trying to find the lost aircraft?
Many hours for many days. We tried to fly some missions too, but basically we were out looking for them. Now we were out in that same area the day before. The weather was terrible.
And right now, just think of anything else, kind of comments you'd like to say? First of all, you're aware that story bodies still remain in the crash site. What do you think about that? What do you think about the government not getting them because it was a so-called peacetime mishap? And just give us your feelings about that.
Well, my feelings is they were part of our squadron, and we all thought a lot of them. We'd known them for a long time, and I can't think of any reason why they couldn't go up there and get them all out.
Sure is. Okay, anything else that you can think you'd like to say?
It was extremely hazardous up there. We were talking about that this morning, and I said if I had it to do over again, there's not enough money to get me to do what we did up there every day. And we had...
my name's Don Leibold. I was in A2 on Crew 9, which is the third tech position, and I was there from 1961 through 1962.
And were you, did you know the lost crew that was lost in 62?
Yes, knew almost all of them personally.
Okay, and basically just give us a little bit of your comments, your feelings about what that day, what happened, your efforts, and if you were on the rescue mission, and any other information you'd like to share with us.
Well, they'd come up from Rota, Spain, and they had only been there a very short period of time, and they were having trouble with their plane, which is not uncommon coming from a hot climate into Iceland, which is damp and cold and freezing. And so, anyway, they were supposed to go flying that morning, and Joe Brennan Burke, who flew the same position I did, he came in and woke me up. And I said, "What's going on, Joe?" And he says, "Well, we're taking your plane. What's wrong with it? Any problems?" We calmly went back and forth. The techs did it, the electricians did it, the mechanics did it. And I said, "No, everything's been working really well, and no real problems." And he says, "Well, okay," and walked out. And I think I got up. We talked for 3 more minutes about something, and that was the last time I ever saw him, of course. And he was a pretty good friend, and also I was pretty good buddies with the radioman and some of the other guys, too.
And are you aware that, or when did you become aware that there were still some bodies left in the wreckage up there?
Oh, not till years and years later. I lost contact with everybody after I got out of the Navy, after a few years, and I was on the rescue mission, of course, and we went out there and flew hour after hour in the worst weather imaginable. You had to be strapped in. It was hail, snow, the seas were rough, and I guess we all thought we were actually going to find something, and of course we didn't. And it was years and years later. In fact, it was about 3 or 4 years ago when my plane captain and a third tech from another crew called me, and we were talking, and they informed me that they found the plane and bodies. And I never knew it till that point.
No, you didn't know about the 66 recovery?
No. It really wasn't publicized much. You know, there's other things going on, and I never heard a word about it.
Okay, is there basically any other comments you'd like to make about it? Or about,
No, except that, you know, I would like to see the guys, what's left of them brought back. They were serving their country, same as all of us.
Okay, I guess this is about it. Thank you very much for your time. When were you in vp-5?
My name is Donald Latimer. I was in vp-5 for about 4.5 years, from October of '57 to January of '62. I was actually on the crew that crashed until January 1st of 1962, and I had transfer orders to San Diego, and so this is the reason I didn't go to Iceland with the crew, is because I was leaving the squadron. I left the squadron on January the 15th, so I knew about the crash before we left, because I think I learned about it the next day. On the 13th, they came over and notified us, at least became widely known in Rota, that we'd lost an aircraft. And of course they were still searching, and on the 15th I was back in Jacksonville, the 16th, and talked with some of the crew members' wives, because for one thing, one of the commanding officers told me I should, so I did, and there wasn't much you could tell them after that, you know, that we're looking, and hopefully they'll be found. And Commander Kozak's wife, Mrs. Kozak, she seemed to be concerned about his state of mind. You know, was he worried about flying or anything like that, or going up there? I said, well, he didn't seem to be, because I didn't fly to Iceland with him, but I flew with him up until just days before they left. And I said, everyone said, well, they'd rather not go to Iceland, but they didn't seem to be worried about it. And so it was kind of a shock, knowing the guys.
And when did you find out that they had found the plane in '66?
I guess in the late '70s. Another vp-5 crew member came out to San Diego and told me that he'd seen a newspaper clipping where one of the guys, Brennan Burke, I believe, the body had been discovered and buried or something, and had a newspaper clipping about it. I was in '66. I was still in the Navy. I hadn't got out yet, and I was in Africa, but it didn't make any of the leading newspapers or anything like Times or Newsweek. There wasn't any. I'd never heard anything about it till the late '70s sometime. And then I thought, you know, he just told me that it had been recovered, and at that time I thought everybody had been recovered, not that they didn't identify him, but no details or anything, until just a few years ago when Bob Petway found out about the bodies still being there.
I understand that you've been real instrumental with working with Mr. Petway as far as contacting the family members of the...
Well, yeah. One of my hobbies is genealogy, so I've had a little practice in looking for lost relatives and things, so I got pretty good at finding people, and I was able to contact a few that some of the other guys weren't, that got pretty lucky at it sometimes. But yeah, so we've, as you probably are aware, that we've contacted all the members, or family members of the people that were on the crash right now. There were a couple of members that I didn't really know very well that were on the Dr. Brown that was on the, John Brown that was on the crew. He was just flying to get his flight time in, so I didn't know anything about him. And Alan Millette that just went on the crew. He actually took my place and they moved the technicians up. And so I hadn't flown with him any. And one of the other officers that was on the crew joined him in Iceland, but I had flown with him. I didn't fly with him on that crew, but I'd flown with him on other crews, so I knew him. Tony Caswick. I knew him just at the flying with him.
And just give us your thoughts as far as sending a second recovery mission. And
it doesn't sound that complicated to me. I don't know what the problem is if attempting it, you know. I think if this geologist can go back there year after year, and they don't have supposedly the expertise that our military does to do this thing, they're not set up, that's not their job, and they could probably have done it, you know. But of course they don't have the authority to do it. You can't just go back there and say, well, we'll bring the bodies back. They're there, we'll bring them back. They don't have the authority to do it if they could have. So it doesn't seem that hard a job to me. I know some jobs are tough, but that doesn't seem that difficult if they get in there at the right time. Timing's going to be the big thing.
I understand it's got to be during a couple of months during the summer when you can have action.
Yeah, I'll believe July, August, and maybe part of September, early part of September, that'd be it. You know, that's a small window of opportunity. You've got to get in there.
Okay, is there any other comments you'd like to make?
No, but I'd say a lot of this went out of my mind after I got out of the Navy. You know, of course you'd think about the crew occasionally, but I'd really like to see him go up there, and I knew everybody that had been flying on that crew, of course, but my closer friends' bodies were identified, but I knew the other guys too, and they ought to bring them back.
I was vp-5. Okay. In fact, I was crew member of LA-9. We flew the plane the day before. I was an AT-2. My name is Bill Denmark. I was called Porter Denmark when I was there because that's my middle name. And like I said, we flew the airplane the day before. It had a couple problems with the electronics when we got back, and one of them was the radar was like 50%, something like that, as far as power. And so that night when we got back, you know, I had to gas the airplane. It was my turn to gas the airplane. Everybody takes turns, and so I filled the airplane with gas, and then I and a ground pounder worked on the radar until about 6 o'clock in the morning next morning, because we thought that we were going to be flying again the next day, because we were about the only airplane that was working very well at that time. And we took some parts out of one of the airplanes and fixed the radar, and then my radio man and the second tech, they worked on a minor problem on one of the radios that same night. So like I say, we were thinking we were going to go flying the next day, and the next morning they decided to have the other crew take our airplane.
Okay, and when did you find out that they found it? Like in '66 when they found the crash site? Were you still in the military?
No, I was not. I got out in '62, December '62. And I was very surprised that they finally found her, because I remember looking for them. You know, we couldn't fly for